Hey, hey, hey! What the fuck? Get the fuck back! What the fuck? Hey! Hey!
Okay, get ready for this. Now, when it comes to deportation operations around the United States, some states get a lot more attention than others. And one state that doesn't get a lot of attention as far as deportation operations would be the state of Tennessee, specifically Middle Tennessee. And like the headline says, ICE arrests at Wilson County, Robertson County courthouses spur backlash from local immigration group. If you are unaware, we are seeing more and more of these interactions between protesters or activist groups and these ICE agents.
Same way it goes with loudness. We're not going to cuss. We're not going to be loud. Do you understand? Just agree that you understand.
So we're going to cover these recent courthouse interactions, but we're also going to talk about this. We've been covering this story on my channel. Nashville journalist speaks out after ICE detention, calls experience terrifying. So we have a lot to cover. Now real quick before we start, make sure to please like this video. It helps out a ton. And also make sure to leave your comments down below and let me know how you feel about what we watch as we go through this entire video. Here we go.
You're too close. I don't believe that's the law.
We need the arrest warrant.
You're now interfering.
Show us the warrant.
Show us the warrant.
I need you to step back out of the way.
We're
trying to finish this criminal process at the moment.
I need
Step back out
the
of the way.
warrant, Paul. The warrant. The warrant. This man is not a criminal. Show me the warrant.
You need to back up.
I'm hoping
Do y'all think this is okay? Don't just look away and act like nothing is happening.
Too close.
You told me arm's length.
Too close.
You told me arm's length.
This is my arm. You see
All
how
right,
close you
you're
are?
not touching me. You're not touching me.
You just bumped him when you got behind him.
No,
That's not
he
arm's length.
bumped me. It's the other way
Oh my
around.
god, do you think he's
I
gonna
was
be
in the same
okay?
place.
Holy shit.
You guys are not arresting criminals. Do you feel good about your jobs? Do you feel good about this?
No,
Does
obviously,
it
yeah,
take
they hide their faces.
7 men to take one working man who is no different than me?
Okay, so just some context before we get further into this interaction, because we're going to see the sheriffs pop up in here pretty soon. Keep in mind, this particular county in Tennessee, they do have a partnership with ICE. And the reason why that's relevant is because we actually don't see too much of these interactions in the courthouses where we have ICE and the sheriffs dealing with this type of situation together. Typically, it's like ICE dealing with activists or protesters pushing back, but you're going to see soon the sheriffs will appear.
I have to repeat it. Yes, we do.
Yes, you do. Show us the warrant.
We need a warrant
Show
with
us
his
the
name
warrant.
that is signed by a judge. There is no way you can take him without an arrest warrant signed by a judge. You cannot.
Let's see
You
it.
cannot.
Yes.
I will call his immigration attorney to verify. Give me 1 second. Without an arrest warrant, you cannot take him.
Are they going to help him out through the window or are you going to?
Are y'all gonna take his money? Okay.
You know this is wrong.
No, he
Hey, hey, hey! What the fuck? Get the fuck back! What the fuck? Hey! Hey!
What is wrong? Arrest him!
Officers, this is against the law. What they're doing is against the law. Officers, county sheriffs, sheriff deputies, what they are doing, they're arresting someone without a warrant. You have a responsibility to this man.
Okay, so this has always been one of the most contested points as far as what ICE can do and not do in regards to the type of warrant they have. And the main warrants we typically hear about are the administrative warrant and the judicial warrant. Now, I don't have all of the details as far as this particular operation. Homeland Security did not give us the details, so I don't want to speculate too hard as far as what type of warrant is being served here or not served here. But what I will point out is this is generally considered a public hallway, which means when ICE is operating in a public area, they do have the ability to inquire or arrest you if you are suspected as an illegal immigrant. But at the same time, I do have to point out that is how some activists or protesters are also able to be in this hallway, because generally speaking, these hallways are public. In fact, you'll see within this interaction, even the sheriffs say you can still be here.
You have a responsibility to the law. You have a responsibility to the law. Show us a warrant!
I need you to quiet down. You need to quiet down. You can talk. You cannot yell. Do you understand? You need to quiet down. This is your one warning. I need you to quiet down. This is your one warning.
I need a warrant.
You will have a warrant if you don't keep your voice down.
Put me with a good time.
You understand?
I didn't interfere. Do you understand?
Keep your voice down. Last warning.
How do you pronounce your name?
Show and height.
Show and height. Hey,
You got one warning. This is your warning to be quiet.
That's why I chose not to arrest him. But his family stepped in between and tried to grab him.
That was absolutely unnecessary. That was way over the fucking top.
I would never have brought him. I would have talked to the judge. You need a warrant.
It goes with language. Same way it goes with loudness. We're not going to cuss. We're not going to be loud. Do you understand? Agree that you understand. Say yes, sir.
Yes,
Say
sir.
yes, sir. I understand.
I
No
understand.
cussing. No yelling.
I will not curse.
We will arrest you.
Thank you.
Same thing. No cussing. No yelling. You can be here. You can do it. This conversation.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys caught that. It's kind of muffled. This sheriff right here, or officer, he is saying you can be here. So again, keep in mind, for those of you wondering, why is this even able to happen? Why do we have this clash going on back and forth? This is generally considered a public area. And back in 2025, this was a very contested debate back and forth whether or not ICE agents can be in these hallways. And we saw these interactions a lot more in 2025 than we do today, which is why I am highlighting this clip to show you guys this is still happening, and ICE, they are generally allowed to operate in these public areas as if they are in a public roadway because it's public. And that definitely affects whether or not an ICE agent actually needs a warrant, let alone a judicial warrant.
Meanwhile, in Robertson County earlier today, protesters and volunteers with the Music City Migros Watch say they witnessed 5 apparent ICE arrests here at the General Sessions Court as people showed up to court to pay for traffic tickets.
And at the traffic ticket window, several agents just encircled the individual and basically told them that they were under arrest, and they asked for warrants, and no warrants were produced.
Ashley Warbington with the Music City Migros Watch says volunteers have been showing up to both Robertson and Wilson County General Sessions Court to connect families with legal resources.
Okay, one thing I say all the time on this channel, just because we don't see it or hear about it, it doesn't mean it's not happening. And again, Tennessee is very underreported. You really have to dig for these types of clips and stories as far as activists or protesters doing this type of stuff.
Loved one is detained by ICE agents.
First and foremost, we want to make sure this doesn't happen without anyone witnessing.
She says she recognizes some of the same ICE agents in Robertson County from Monday's arrests in Wilson County.
It's hard to believe. These are not criminals that they are detaining. These are individuals that maybe ran a stop sign.
In Robertson County, Kendall Ashman, News 2.
Okay, so leave your comments down below. Let me know how you feel about that. Again, this is happening in Central Tennessee a lot more. It's starting to pop up in the news as far as looking for different news stories around the United States, which is an indicator we might start seeing an increase of ICE activity or deportation activity within Central Tennessee specifically. Okay, now moving forward with this story. Nashville journalist speaks out after ICE detention, calls experience terrifying. And just a quick recap, this is a Nashville journalist that was arrested by ICE. According to ICE, she overstayed her tourist visa, and because of that, she was not legal in this country. She also missed 2 crucial appointments as far as her having to have some sort of interaction with the federal government, and because of that, she was arrested according to ICE. Now, of course, she is contesting that.
Not knowing about my family was terrifying, especially about my daughter.
A national journalist speaking out tonight for the first time since being released after spending more than 2 weeks in federal ICE detention. Stephanie Rodriguez, a reporter with Nashville Noticias, was released on bond after spending 16 days behind bars. And now she is sharing what she experienced and what is next in her asylum case.
And that's another key detail. When it comes to the asylum, according to ICE, she did not apply for asylum while she was in the country legally, because she was in the country legally according to ICE, but then that expired after the tourist visa. So keep that in mind. That's what's really being contested back and forth.
Yes, Scott, Rodriguez says she does plan to return to work soon, but tonight she is speaking out about what she calls a terrifying experience inside detention. For the first time since her release from ICE detention, Nashville journalist Stephanie Rodriguez is sharing her story. In a 50-minute sit-down interview with her news director at Nashville Noticias, Rodriguez says she was detained March 4th outside of a gym in South Nashville, despite believing that she was following her immigration process.
I was never in this country a single day without legal status. Everything was done legally and correctly.
She says she spent days unable to contact her family, including her young daughter.
Not knowing about my family was terrifying, especially about my daughter.
Rodriguez says she was later transferred to a detention facility in Louisiana, where she met dozens of other women waiting on their cases.
So keep in mind, as far as context goes, while this was all happening, ICE was accused of not having a warrant, where later ICE did say they had an administrative warrant, and this was a targeted arrest. Again, that is also being contested as far as the validity of the warrant and whether or not the warrant was actually served. So in my opinion, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a legal battle back and forth to verify who's right and who is wrong.
I wouldn't wish this on a criminal. It's so inhumane what you live.
ICE previously said the arrest was part of a targeted enforcement operation and stands by it. Now out on a $10,000 bond, Rodriguez says her legal fight is far from over, with pending options including gaining asylum and a green card through marriage.
And by the way, gaining asylum is very, very difficult. I mean, Kilmar Obrego Garcia, which by the way, his case and involvement within the deportation process is currently happening within the same jurisdiction of Central Tennessee, Nashville. He wasn't even able to gain asylum despite claiming, his life is under threat from gangs back home. So gaining asylum is very difficult, but she might try to get a green card.
The process continues. I have to stay calm and keep fighting.
Okay, so we have been covering this case very closely, and it's already been quite the roller coaster. I mean, we even had these accusations that one of the reasons why she was arrested or targeted was because of the way she has been reporting on ICE. So that's a whole other part of this story as well. So if you are new here, make sure to please subscribe, and I will keep you up to date with that. But that is what she has to say. Apparently, there's like a 50-minute interview out there, but we're not going to cover it. That's basically what she has to say as far as what's next and what she had to go through. So moving forward, another big story coming out of Tennessee, and you probably wouldn't know this unless you look into it, new immigration bill requires local law enforcement to cooperate with ICE. Now, one observation I have made on this channel is that whenever something works in one state, other states tend to copy it, especially when it comes to these deportations and ICE, either pro-ICE or anti-ICE, especially with sanctuary jurisdictions. One thing we saw with California, I use this example all the time, they tried to ban the mask for ICE. However, it didn't work. It got shot down because of discrimination and only focusing on ICE. So other sanctuary jurisdictions, they saw that happened, and what other states are doing, they are also passing a mask ban, not only for ICE, but for everyone, all police, state troopers, and federal agents as well. So again, if it works for one state, it might work for another. So keep in mind, if Tennessee does end up signing this off as a law, who knows, we might see other states do the exact same thing.
Democrats would rather put illegal aliens above the safety of Americans.
Law enforcement working with ICE doesn't make anybody safe.
State lawmakers tonight considering a bill that would force Tennessee sheriff's departments to cooperate with federal ICE agents as part of the 287G program. And departments that don't comply, they risk losing state funding.
Wow.
Fox 17 News' Karen.
So this is the complete opposite of what a sanctuary jurisdiction or state would be doing. And keep in mind, Tennessee has one of the strongest anti-sanctuary jurisdiction laws out there. It is illegal to create sanctuary policies and have sanctuary status within the state of Tennessee. But here we have a law that would pretty much indicate the exact opposite. You really can't be sanctuary and you have to help out ICE. The exact opposite of a sanctuary state saying you cannot help out ICE.
Aguilar live now inside the Cordell Hull State Office building after this bill was expected to be heard today in both the House and the Senate committee today. Karen?
That's right, Scott. And the bill passed in the Senate, State and Local Government Committee, but it got moved to another day for the House side. This bill is a hot button issue that got many gathering outside of this hallway and inside of that room to see if it would pass. The number of Tennessee local law enforcement agencies helping ICE as a part of the 287G program has gone up from 11 to 60, according to the ICE database.
Yeah, a lot of sheriffs already work with ICE, so keep that in mind. I also want to point out, just because an area might be heavily conservative or pro-ICE, it doesn't always mean that departments want to work with ICE due to the lack of resources, so we do see that a lot. Keep that in mind. Very big misconception. Just because an area likes ICE, sometimes they don't want to put too much out there to help out ICE because they want to focus on their own area. It doesn't mean they'll never help them, but as far as this formal agreement, that doesn't always happen. We actually saw that over in Pennsylvania, just south of Pittsburgh.
The 287G program is currently optional, but State Representative Johnny Garrett wants to make it mandatory in Tennessee. Garrett says if the agencies don't cooperate, they would lose funding. He adds the bill is an effort to curb violent crime.
Illegal immigrants are committing these crimes. What better way to combat those crimes than every single law enforcement agency on the local level or even at the federal level, the Department of Homeland Security? Why can't they work together?
Democrat Representative Gabby Salinas tells me not all undocumented immigrants are criminals.
We're seeing the majority, 90% of people that are being taken in are people that have no criminal records.
She adds requiring law enforcement agencies to sign up for the 287G program is big government and creates distrust in local officers.
I think this makes it harder for victims to come forward and turn in the people that have committed crimes against them.
The 287G program has 4 models, including the jail enforcement model, which allows deputies to process and identify undocumented immigrants in jail. The warrants,
which that right there is the biggest one that Tom Homan has always requested to have some sort of cooperation. That is the specific one that Tom Homan was talking about in Minnesota when he said, we have these partnerships with the jail as far as the technicality of what's expected between the sheriffs and ICE. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, for some reason, Tennessee has really been popping up on my radar as far as these interactions between activists, protesters, lawmakers, contesting ICE activity or deportation activity. But why Tennessee also stands out is a very big push from the state government or local governments to have cooperation, for sheriffs to be working with ICE, either voluntarily or involuntarily. So yeah, we will be following Tennessee because it's quite the outlier of what we're seeing right now as far as different news stories around the United States. Thank you guys again so much for being here. Again, if you're new here, make sure to please subscribe. Make sure to please like the video, leave your comments down below, and God bless all of you. And please pray for peace. We do need that right now, and please seek Christ. Thank you guys so much.